How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Warren Logan, and today we got to talk about the tax bill that has just passed the House, soon to be the Senate. It was pretty convincing. You know, no Democrats voted for it, of course. Pretty much all Republicans voted for it outside of just 12 people. I don't know who they are, but if I figure that out, I'll put that in the description box below. But this is a good sign. It's really good. If you don't know too much about the bill, I'll give you some just key pointers. Now, the first thing, and probably one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing in the entire bill, is the fact that the corporate tax rate has been reduced from 35% down to 21%. That's going to be gigantic. It's going to be huge, as Donald Trump would say, for business growth, to be able to retain businesses in the U.S. and also to attract more to come back to the U.S. or to invest in the U.S. in general. We need jobs. We need investment in jobs. So this here is a very, very big thing. I'm definitely glad that this has happened. And then the next thing is the individual mandate for Obamacare has now been abolished, according to this. So if you don't get Obamacare, you would not be subject to the tax penalty, which is gone up. I'm not really sure what it is. It's different things depending upon how much money you made. I think they're talking like 1.5% or a certain amount of money, whichever is higher. So basically, some families, you're talking about $5 to $6 grand that they have as a penalty. Now, the good thing about the penalty, to try to find a silver lining in the whole thing, is that the only way they were going to be able to get it is through your tax return. So it wasn't like you have to pay a check to the IRS. You know, they can't mail something to your house and say, oh, you owe this tax penalty. No, if you get a tax return and take it from that. Now, people like myself, I don't get a tax return, so hey, good luck getting that. But hey, I've always had health care, so don't come after me, IRS. You know, this is all good here. I'm on the up and up, but I digress. Now, one more thing about the tax bill is that it raises the threshold to be taxed. So I think for an individual, you would not get taxed anything up to $12,000. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comments. But for couples, the first $24,000 you make, that's untaxed. So that's a great tax break. It's going to save a lot of families a lot of money. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. Now, there's been a lot of backlash, mostly in the media. I don't really see too many actual people having a real problem with the tax bill. There was even a protest scheduled on Capitol Hill, and you had Nancy Pelosi, who was supposed to attend, but she wound up skipping on it because nobody came to the actual protest
behind me. But Allie, these protests have never been like what we saw with the healthcare law. This particular protest was supposed to start at 3, supposed to feature Nancy Pelosi, and supposed to have hundreds of people, and none of those things are going to end up being true. So there has been this protest effort to stop this and slow it down, but it is increasingly likely that the passage of this tax bill is more or less a foregone conclusion at this point, as long as there's not some other surprise defection here in the next 24 hours.
All right. So the whole thing was just, it was a nothing burger. It was a mess. Nobody came to that protest because nobody really cares about this. You know, the media, they're going to try to blow it out of proportion. They're going to try to say, oh, the tax bill only helps the wealthy. It only helps the top 1%. Matter of fact, I saw a headline from AP, which was kind of disappointing because AP and Reuters, these are two organizations I look at to be non-partial, non-biased. They just give you the news just flat out and plain. They don't editorialize at all. So I really appreciate them for that. Almost the same kind of way I appreciate C-SPAN. But this headline here, which I'll place on the screen before you, is kind of inflammatory because it's saying, oh, well, the tax cuts, they help the business, they help wealthy, as to say that middle class people don't get helped, people that are poor don't get helped, because let's just be clear. Even if the tax cuts are for the so-called wealthy, who needs the tax cuts? If you're a poor person, do you even pay taxes? People don't even really know what that means when I say taxes. Do you pay it? Okay. They think, oh, well, I know I go to the store and I buy my liquor and my cheese puffs or whatever. I pay sales tax. That is not paying tax. Okay. You're being taxed on the good that you buy, but you're not being taxed just for making money, just for existing. You're not getting charged by the IRS money. You don't have to write a check to the IRS every year. You don't pay taxes. It's just that simple. So why would you get a tax break? Okay. People that have a lot of money or people that make money that does not get taken away from their employer or whatever, they're the ones that are paying taxes, and they pay a lot of it. Most of the people who pay all the taxes can be found within a very small portion of the population. So these are the guys that need the tax breaks. And the reason why they need the tax breaks is because if they feel more confident to spend more money in the economy rather than having it taken from them and then given to the government, and who knows what they do with it from there, they could take that money that they have rather than having to pay the government and invest into their business. Investing in the business creates more job opportunities for people that have less money than them, the poor, the middle class, and on up. That's how the whole food chain works. Now, some would call that trickle down, and some would say it doesn't work. Some would say, you know, Reagan tried it, he failed, this, that, and the third, but I disagree. I think that it did work with Reagan, and I think that trickle down economics most certainly works. Do you know, talking about the black community momentarily here for a minute, for those of you who are watching who want to know my take on how would it affect us, do you know that under Ronald Reagan, black employment rose by 20%? Did you know that? But under Barack Hussein Obama, black employment fell by 43%. Did you know that? So the so-called trickle down from Reagan, that helped us. Reaganomics helped us, contrary to popular belief. But under Mr. Barack Obama, who did nothing, I mean, he was a smooth guy, you know, daddy long legs, you know, smooth talker. But what did he actually do? He didn't do anything. Actually, he made things worse. People want to credit him for recovery. What recovery? People want to credit him for economic recovery. Well, for who? For who exactly did he help? Because I really didn't see it in the areas in which I was living in and drove past every day. I really didn't see it. Did you see it? If you happen to live in low income areas, did you see the actual improvement in the economy from when Obama came into office until the end of his term, his second term? I don't know. But at the end of the day, as I close, I just want to say that this should most certainly pass the Senate. You're going to have some roadblocks along the way coming from the Republican side. You're going to have people like your John McCain's, who at this point is just like, yo, I'm almost done. I got one foot in the grave. I'm going to just come out and live my true self. It's just like Bruce Jenner. Okay. And then you have people like, what's that? Jeff Flake. Is he in the Senate? I'm not sure. Then you have a guy like Rand Paul. I like Rand Paul, but Rand Paul's more of a libertarian than a Republican. So he may vote against the tax bill. But I'm just overall glad that we got some things going here. Like I said, the two main things, the corporate tax rate has been reduced. Then you have Obamacare individual mandate that's been abolished. Now, some would say, why is that involved with a tax bill? Because in essence, it is a tax. OK, it's a tax penalty because you pay the IRS. Now, they kind of get around that wording. They're kind of wormy with it because you're not actually writing a check to the IRS, but your taxes are being withheld if you do not do what's necessary to avoid the penalty. OK, but that's been abolished, and also to raise the threshold to which you will be able to get taxed for couples and also people that are single. So it sounds great to me, but what do you think? Do you think that the tax bill is a bad bill? Now, if you think that way, please explain to me why in the comments below. I'd love to hear your point of view. But do you think it's a good thing? Do you think that it's high time that we got much more done in Washington, D.C.? Do you think that Trump's administration and Trump himself does not really get the credit that they deserve for pushing things forward in the country? Because I've seen quite a lot of things happen that I'm really proud of here, and I don't really see it get covered in the mainstream media. And when I do, it seems to be a very negative twist to it. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace. I do have some breaking news to report. This really shouldn't affect the GOP tax bill from actually passing. It just may delay it by a day. What's going to happen is this. They're going to vote again tomorrow in the House to try and get the tax bill passed. Democrats realized after it had been passed, they probably knew it before, but they're probably just trying to prolong it. they realized that the tax bill violated the Byrd rule. Yes, that Byrd, Robert Byrd, KKK, that guy who was no longer with us. I digress. The Byrd rule says that if anything raises the national debt by more than 1.5 trillion, it needs 60 votes in the Senate in order to become a law, or to, go to the president and get signed and become a law. Right now, there's a budget model, and I'll place the actual name of it on the screen before you. I can't really remember what it is right now, but that model says that the tax bill is going to increase the national budget by 1.7 trillion. Okay. Now, the reason why this is important is because if the rule is followed, all they need is a simple majority vote in the Senate, which means Republicans who control 52% of the seats, which is a majority, but simple majority. All they need is party line votes and they're good. They don't need any help from the Democrats. However, if the rule is not followed, they need 60 votes, which means you need at least bare minimum 8 Democrats. And you're not going to get that because no Democrats voted for it in the House. So it'd be dead on arrival. Therefore, they got to go back and change it. Now, as far as what they're going to change, I really don't know. I'm not really sure what they're going to change as far as any kind of numbers or whatever, but they got to change something. And then at that point, it'll go to the Senate. It'll get passed because all you need, again, are the Republican votes. And then we're home free. But that's my update. Hopefully everything goes right on Wednesday. I'll see you guys on the live show. We could talk about it then. And until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out, and peace.